Hey everybody, it's Anu. I actually had a written post all ready to go, but then as I was kind of reading it, I was like, wow, I really sound like a mean girl in this. So I thought it might be better if I communicated it by video, so that way you could see my face and hear my voice and know how convicted I really was about this particular situation. So my husband Lance and I were going to meet up with some friends, and we'd planned to leave at a particular time, but he was kind of running behind, so we were going to be late. And being on time's a really, really big deal to me. I didn't say anything to him, but as we were in the car just driving, I was kind of rehearsing in my mind what I was going to say once we got there and saw our friends. And it was something short and sweet like, hey, y'all, sorry we're late, but don't blame me. Yeah, real sweet. But as I kind of finished processing my little speech, I had this flashback moment to something that happened within the first few years of our marriage. So we were like a lot of couples who had those typical first year struggles, toilet seat, toothpaste, all that. And we worked through a lot of that, but we were still having our issues. And so I remember one day I was driving home from work, and I was on the phone with Lance, and we got into a loud discussion. And anyway, I ended up getting into a car accident. So thankfully I was fine. The other driver was fine, but my car was not fine. It was totaled. So Lance and I went to the car dealership, and the sales guy asked us what was going on. And Lance said, we totaled our car. And I remember I was confused, and in my mind, I'm like, we didn't total our car. I totaled our car. I was driving by myself. I made the mistake. It was me. I totaled the car. And so I told the sales guy that. I remember he just looked at me and he was like, well, that's how you know you have a good marriage. And I never thought about it like that until he said that to me. So fast forward 15 years, and, I'm getting upset about us being late. And I was so convicted, and I just realized how self-centered I was being. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to share my little speech that I had planned. And as I was kind of praying through this, I remembered the story of Adam and Eve, the very first relationship. So things are going great in Genesis chapters 1 and 2, but then, and even in Genesis 2, we see when Adam sees Eve, he says, you are bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. He recognizes the oneness that they have. But then you get to chapter 3 when things aren't going so well, and all of a sudden he's telling God, like, that woman that you gave me. So what was once a part of him has now become apart from him. And I'm not saying that we need to carry the weight and responsibility of all of our spouse's mistakes, but the Bible does say it is to our glory to overlook an offense. So I think in those kinds of situations, I feel like grace is just begging us and saying, hey, will you come in now and join your spouse in this? Will you just let them know that they're not alone and that you are with them? And what I love is that doesn't just have to be in the bad times, it can be in the good times too. So what is important to your spouse, or what is your spouse passionate about? And I'll tell you, for me, that Lance, again, just models this so wonderfully, where he'll just come in and he will just do, whatever he can to be a support to me and to help me in the area that I'm passionate in. And I know I try to do that for him. I'm sure it's on a much smaller scale, but even with something as simple as like movies, like I'm not really a movie person, but if he's watching one at home, I just try to make sure I come and sit with him. That way, at least we can be together in that. And then I start asking him a bunch of questions, and he's probably like, maybe we don't need to have a we moment right now, but hey, I'm trying. So I just wanted to encourage all of us as wives and just remind us of the beauty of two becoming one, and that we are really on this journey together through the good and through the bad. So what God has joined together, let no man, let no totaled car, let no being late separate. God bless you guys.